Giants legend, former Super Bowl champ Victor Cruz teamed up with NYU Langone Health for a Super Bowl ad like no other. Check this out. Features some of the top doctors to highlight NYU's campaign. Better health starts with the better health system. We're fortunate enough to have one of the stars of the commercial, Dr. Fritz Francois, Chief of Hospital Operations at NYU Langone Health, to give us a little look into the legendary campaign and of course, the commercial. Doc, thanks for hopping on with us. We got the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and we got the Chief of Hospital Operations on the promo. What a time to be alive. How you feeling today, sir?
Well, it's a great time to be alive. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a real pleasure to be with you, Brandon.
All right, let's have some fun with this because obviously anytime anyone gets to shoot a Super Bowl ad, something as legendary as this, you got to give us the little of the behind the scenes of what it's like to be featured and star in this commercial, especially with Giants legend Victor Cruz. Please, can you give us the details of some behind the scenes of that?
Sure. What was amazing is the fact that we had a chance to be on this field with incredible colleagues, physicians who were there doing, interestingly enough, something that we normally do in the hospital, which is making sure that we're all on the same page, running a play of sorts, and just being focused on that playbook. And having Victor there was just an amazing experience.
What'd you learn from him from the football side of things?
Oh, well, a couple of things. One, his attitude,
Mm.
which is such being so humble, so willing to learn, so attentive to the details in terms of what was going on, not only what he needs to do, but very importantly, what others are doing. I can immediately tell that this is a team player. This is what we do at NYU Langone Health, which is all about the team in order to deliver the best outcomes.
Yeah, ultimate team player, Doc. I went to UMass with Vic. We played together for 2 years. We won a
Oh,
conference championship. We lost in the FCS national championship. So obviously, we do stuff with the Giants together. So that kid, he is as advertised as you know. And you guys picked a great ambassador for this campaign. But let's talk about this message that you guys are putting out there, which I think is pretty strong. Better health starts with a better health system. Can you
that's right.
explain what that means to our audience who aren't pro athletes and who may not be in the medical field?
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great question. And what we do as an organization is that we make sure that every part of the organization is prepared to provide a service to our patients when they come in. What I mean by that is that it means that everybody from the person who greets them when they come in through the door, the person who is cleaning the area in which they're going to be, to the person who's drawing their blood for lab work, all the way to the physician who's going to be reviewing those labs with them. So the reality is that we have a system, we have a team, and it is that system, that team, that it allows us to deliver such best results. And we believe that focusing on those pieces, making sure that we're performing at the highest level in each of these areas allows us to be the best and deliver the best outcomes.
No way can I compare football to what you all do. You guys save lives, but in pro football, we say it all the time. You're one of 11. You're one player out of 11 players on the field at that time. And I'm pretty sure, like you said, there's no I in team for NYU Langone Health's full team of doctors and staff. And that's why you guys have been ranked number one in a myriad of medical field categories 3 years in a row. The Chiefs, ironically, are going for a three-peat this year. Any advice to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the guys on going for that three-peat?
Yeah, so you said it. I mean, it is true that we have been number one 3 years in a row in the country for quality and safety, and we're proud of it. What we learn is the importance of teamwork and also the importance of having a single playbook that everybody understands, that everybody focuses on, and at the end of the day, keeping your eye on the goal. For us, it's about quality and safety. That is the goal for every single patient. And with that, everybody understands what the goal is. So my advice again to the chief would be keep doing what you do in terms of working as a team, keep focusing on that playbook, focus on the goal.
Well, you're the chief of hospital operations. We can say you're Andy Reid per se. So what's that communication like to your offensive coordinators or your Patrick Mahomes or your doctors, your staff? What's that constant communication like for you guys to be number one and stay at that number one spot?
Yeah, thank you for actually saying. But reality is that we have a great leadership team, starting with our Dean and CEO, Dr. Robert Grossman. And one of the things that he says to us all the time is to stay hungry. What he means by that is keep learning. No matter what it is that you think you know, there's always something else that you can continue to do better. And you're not resting on your laurels. And you apply that, since you asked me about like the Chiefs, like, can you run that route actually a little bit better? Can you consider what the defense is doing? For us, we're always thinking about how to better serve our patients in terms of quality and safety, and we communicate that to our staff. I have an open door policy, and all the leaders actually do. That means that some of the best ideas can come in unexpected areas, and we want individuals to share those ideas. We also want them, if there's something that's not working well, we want them to speak up. We want them to say, hey, maybe we can do this. And I think that type of culture is what we call a culture of exceptionalism, which means that we want to be the best. We want to be inclusive of all the individuals in this organization to be able to, in such an infectious manner, to want to deliver the best care for our patients. This is what it means to build an incredible system, the best system for the best outcomes.
Championship communication breeds championship culture. There's a reason why the Chiefs are going for number 3, and there's a reason why you guys have had the top spot for 3 years in a row. Victor Cruz, in this commercial, are we going to see that iconic salsa dance, or at least some sort of version of it in the commercial?
Well, Brandon, I'll tell you, I have to save a little bit of a surprise. I'll just say you're going to be excited.
Okay.
It's going to be a great commercial. You're going to see that it's amazing, and stay tuned.
Okay. Hopefully the doctors warmed up their hips, because I did it in front of him one time, and he was like, man, that's so stiff. You're not doing my dance any justice. Last question, Doc. Who do you have winning on Sunday?
Oh, you know what? Just because you said it before, we did a three-peat, so this past fall. Or I think I got to go with Kansas City. Okay. Maybe they're going to follow our lead in terms of being the best and hit that three-peat.
Okay, I absolutely love it. Doc, continue to do what you guys do, and we thank you so much on this end of it for this championship-type healthcare that you guys have been providing the community. Have a great weekend, Doc. Go Chiefs.
Pleasure. All good. Take care, Brett.
Giants legend and Super Bowl champ Victor Cruz teamed up with NYU Langone Health for a Super Bowl ad featuring some of the top doctors to highlight their campaign. Better health starts with the better health system. Cruz is on now to promote the commercial, and of course I got to get some Giants and Super Bowl talk out of him while he's on. Vic, what's going on, my man? Always great to have you on, interview you, and loving what you got going on for the Super Bowl, bro.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure. I had the esteemed honor of NYU Langone Health reaching out to me for a Super Bowl ad, so I'm really excited about it, excited for the people to see it. It's definitely highlighting doctors and highlighting the teamwork that NYU Langone Health does, and I'm excited to be part of something special.
Speaking of teamwork, we go back. Those of them watching, we played at UMass together, so we know all about teamwork, being one of 11. You got your hands in a little bit of everything, man. So kind of going even deeper about how you got involved with the commercial and the campaign, and can you take us through some of the some funny or hilarious behind the scenes moments?
Yeah, when NYU Langone Health reached out to me, I felt like it was a no-brainer. Some of the people that are on that staff reached out to me because I had worked with them in the past on some Warner Cable old New York stuff. So when they reached out to me, I was like, man, this is perfect. And once I got the treatment of what the ad is actually going to be, I was like, okay, this is fire. This is definitely up my alley. It's a little comedic relief in there. It's a little funny moments. We get to highlight some of these doctors, after having conversations with them, obviously on set, I mean, these doctors are for real. One of the doctors had just came out of surgery maybe 7 hours prior to, and in between takes, they're sitting down on their laptop going over the video of the surgery that they did. I believe it was like a lung replacement or something crazy. And I'm seeing the video of what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I could even look at that too much longer, but It just shows you the incredible work that they do, and the people could judge their acting chops in the spot
Okay.
as well.
And you know what's crazy is they probably YouTubing your football highlights. You going 99 yards for a touchdown against the Jets, and they're like, oh, ooh, ah. You go and look at their highlights from lung replacements and stuff, and we're sitting there in awe. And I was talking to one of the doctors today, and it's just like we're one, professional athletes, two, like top tier doctors. It's like there's an admiration for each other when it comes to what we both have been able to achieve from both sides of it. And you're talking with them about sometimes kind of reminiscing on some stuff. Did you ever talk to them about any of your like old injuries from on the field, or maybe any of the new ones you've picked up from the golf course?
Yeah, I mean, I'm dealing with a little back something from swinging that driver a little too crazy. So I definitely was just picking their brains on the things that I was feeling. Obviously, some stuff back in the day when I was dealing with the meniscus as well as the patella tendon. So just seeing what the advances have been in that particular medical field in terms of surgeries, in terms of recoveries, things that guys are doing differently. And they said that yes, there's some differences in the surgery, some couple different nuances depending on what type of tear, what type of thing it actually is once they go inside and open it up.
Yep.
But for the most part, it's the same. So they were actually, amazed at my recovery, amazed that some days I don't even remember that I had surgery on the knee and that I feel really good. So they were happy about that. And they said they get a torn patella almost once a month. There's a guy coming in there playing in their local basketball league or their local football league and getting injured, obviously in their older years. So they see the injury a lot, and they had some good things to say about the recovery.
Man, I do the injury report with the doctors, and the technology they have now for some of these surgeries and the recovery time is almost split in half. We were talking about, I forget which baseball player, which Yankees guy we were talking about, but he didn't have to have the Tommy John surgery, which he would have been out like a year and a half. He got some like internal brace put into his elbow that cut that down like 10 months he was throwing, and he's going to be ready for spring training. Only if we got to play back in the day with this new type of technology and all. But this is what you're like third or fourth Super Bowl commercial. You've done all types of campaigns before. Is there any pressure, I guess, to call it, when it comes to the Super Bowl ads and commercials?
There's always a little bit of pressure. You want it to be good, right? Obviously, Super Bowl ads have always, there's always ads that live up that people continue to talk about after the game. And they ask, as much as they ask about, have you seen these special plays that happen throughout the course of the game?
Yep.
There's always, did you see this commercial? Did you see that commercial? Did you see, I remember the NFL had an iconic commercial with almost every star, every historic Hall of Famer and soon to be Hall of Famers all over that ad. I'll never forget that one. But you wanted to just live up to the hype, and I think this one does. I think it's just it's short, sweet, it's right to the point, it's hilarious. It checks all the boxes for me, especially for NYU Langone Health to highlight the doctors. It does that exclusively well, along with highlighting myself in the best way I could.
Yeah, it's great that the Chiefs are going for a three-peat, and NYU Langone Health has been the top medical center when it comes to a myriad of categories. So they've won 3 in a row. Chiefs are going 3 in a row. They got you, Victor Cruz, on the commercial. I mean, it's got to be legendary when you got that trifecta coming together. So now let's talk a little bit of football, man. While I got you on, the season's about to officially end. I guess we got to get your thoughts on the state of the Giants closing out their 100th season.
Obviously not the year that they've had, that they've wanted to have coming in. I'm sure the expectations were a little different. I think that they're in a position where they have to evaluate their entire football team and figure out where they want to go next. I think they have to, you know how it is. Every year, teams are looking at themselves in the mirror and seeing who they are and how they can get better. And I think part of those things is going to be at the quarterback position, which is the most important in my opinion on the football team. So they're going to be doing a deep dive in that regard and a deep dive on the rest of the team. I think we need to add depth. We need to add leadership. We need to add continuous amounts of leadership and guys that have done it before, whether that's in free agency or highlighting guys in the draft that really exemplify those characteristics and may not be leaders as soon as they come into the building, but over time be one of those guys that obviously get heralded and become high character guys throughout the course of their careers with the Giants. So obviously not the season that we all wanted them to have from a win-loss perspective, but when you have years like this, you can only move forward and go north. So hopefully, I know that staff, I know the Mara family and the Tisch family and that coaching staff are gonna put the team in the best possible light in the situation to right the wrongs from a year ago and see if we can just manage to continue to be or to become competitive. I think that's the name of the game. Is we're not going to win a Super Bowl next year. I think it's steps to become competitive and be a team to be reckoned with, starting in our division first and then taking it outward to the rest of the NFL.
I want to go back to what you said about you knowing the Mara family very well. You know the organization. You are the organization, Vic. You helped build Giants football to what it is to today. John Mara could have easily fired both Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, but he didn't. So what do you think he saw from those two that he's given them an extra year? Like, what are the angry fans missing when it comes to Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen being the guys that can get this program, this organization, back to its winning ways?
Well, I think he sees stability. I think sometimes, no matter how wrong things can go, you don't just scrap your coach and GM and start anew, because you're basically saying that you're starting anew on all fronts. And I think for the first time in a few years here, obviously, where we've gone through, 4 head coaches in the last, I want to say 9 years, almost 10 years, something like that. So I think he wants to provide the fan base as well as his team with the stability of getting a couple of draft classes under their belts, growing within the family, seeing what players take that next step from last year's draft and the year before that, the guys that have come in under Daboll and under Joe Schoen, see what these guys can do and how they can continue to grow within the organization. Because sometimes there's some gems that grow from that. You never know who could be the next guy to come out and take that next step and become an all-star this year, could become a Pro Bowl-like player and become a guy that can help this team win games. So I think it's just providing that stability, not only for themselves and the Mara family, but the team, the teammates. Everybody wants to come back and have the same ownership and not have to get used to new people and get used to new coaching staff and get used to a whole new staff. I think that was important for the Mara family. And I'm sure as much as it's having a sour taste in the Giants fans' mouths about what Saquon Barkley's doing and how that situation transpired throughout the offseason last year, I think the stability is what really outweighed whatever decisions were made in the previous year offseason that John Mara wanted to provide for this fan base. And but let's be clear, this year is an important year for both Daboll and Joe Schoen. If there isn't a significant change in the way that in the product that's put out there on the football field at MetLife Stadium, I do believe changes will be made after this season.
Keep going even deeper on Saquon and that situation. You went through the business side of the sport with the Giants before. Are you surprised about how that entire situation has kind of played out?
A little bit. I'm a little surprised, mainly because when you see a guy like Saquon and what he means to an organization and the type of leader that he was and that he is, I'd be hard pressed to leave a guy like that off of our roster and onto another team, let alone the rivals that are just down the turnpike there. I think it was a tough decision to make. I'm sure from a business perspective, that's what Joe Schoen was looking at, financially having to pay a running back of that caliber, the type of money that he was looking for. I'm sure that's where Joe Schoen netted out in terms of his decision. But I think when you look at his leadership, his play on the football field, his ability to galvanize others and bring teammates together and be that leader, I think those things are indescribable, and you can't put a price tag on things like that. And I think the Eagles put a price tag on it, paid the price tag, and now they punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. And and I think Saquon was the missing piece for them from a playmaking perspective that put them over the hump and got them there to the next level. So I think Giants fans were shocked, as was I, when we got to see, because of Hard Knocks and HBO, see exactly how that took place and how it transpired. And I know it didn't leave the best taste in our mouths after watching that, on top, coupled with the season that came shortly after.
Yeah, we as players gamble on ourselves. We bet on ourselves, not literally, but in order of like, when you're going up against the business side of sports, it worked out for the player, didn't work out on the GM. The GM kind of bet on himself in a way, and it didn't happen the way that he had wanted to, but he was able to get Malik Nabers with the 6th pick of the draft. You kind of surprised that Nabers was able to do what he did as a rookie with 4 different quarterbacks throwing to him this year.
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you look at his body of work at LSU, and then I got the chance to obviously see him during training camp and see how, his ability to run routes, his ability to get open, his ability to stretch the field, and just, he's got everything. He's got all the tools. He's got every route in the tree. He can catch the ball. His catch radius is incredible. His separation speed is there. And to do that with 4 different quarterbacks and different guys throwing him the rock, just imagine if there's some stability at that position, what could happen. So I think I'm excited to see him mature. I think this year what we've seen is just scratching the surface in terms of what his abilities are and what his capabilities are on this football team. But I think he knows he has to take a step forward in his leadership. He has to take a step forward in continuing to be the consistent player that he wants to be and be a perennial Pro Bowler year in and year out. But I know him, and I know he wants to win games. And he wants to be in contention for playoff games and in contention for Super Bowl runs. So I think the Giants organization has to do him a solid and get him a quarterback, a guy that can throw him the ball and that can grow up with him for years to come.
This whole Kayvon Thibodeau versus Dez Bryant beef kind of blew up on Twitter. What do you think about them two going back and forth? And have you ever kind of went back and forth with somebody over Twitter? Has Victor Cruz ever had Twitter fingers?
I've never gone back and forth with anyone over Twitter, thankfully. But in this day and age, that it happens. People are gonna go back and forth. Things are gonna be said. Competitive juices are gonna flare at all times. But it's just one of those things where you have to know where to draw the line. I think we understand that now. Competitive banter back and forth is great. I think it makes for healthy conversation. I think it keeps guys on their toes. It keeps guys ready to play and ready to, defend the things that they've said out there on the social channels. But there's always a moment where you have to know when to, okay, enough's enough. I've said enough. He's said enough. Now let's put our money where our mouth is when we get out there on the football field and keep it moving. But I'm all for the healthy banter.
Yeah. Let's get to the field because Brandon London's timeline was blowing up all throughout the day. You think Eli is going to get into the Hall of Fame this first ballot? And if he does, how is Eli Manning going to celebrate? You know him.
I think he does get in. I think he gets in first ballot anytime you beat. Right now as it stands, Tom Brady, the one of the best players, if not the best player that ever played the game in the NFL. You beat him twice in the biggest game of the year in the Super Bowl. You do that twice. I think that gets you in on top of all the other statistical reasons on why he should be in as well. And how Eli is going to celebrate, I don't think it's just one day. I think it's a weekend. He likes to golf, so okay. I think he just got into Augusta National. I think that's going to be one of the tour stops for him along his journey. But I think he's going to celebrate with his family, friends. He's going to travel. He's going to do the whole thing. And I think him and Peyton and the whole Manning family are going to have a nice get together to just sit back and enjoy the family that they've put together and the body of work that the entire Manning family has done, with Arch waiting in the wings to potentially be, finish off the circle of Mannings. To be, to play at a high level and to potentially make his mark in the NFL for years to come as well.
All right, let's get your Super Bowl pick. And if Patrick Mahomes wins 3 in a row, how close is he to now getting the GOAT title?
Oh, man, okay, Super Bowl pick, I'm going Kansas City over the Philadelphia Eagles, mainly because I just can't let the Eagles win anything. I would never choose them to win anything. So Kansas City 34, Philadelphia 29. And I think three-peat, I think if he does the three-peat, this will be 3 out of the last 5 years, 3 in a row, most importantly. I think you have to give him at least the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, the guy has come in, he's still under the age of 30. He still has at least, God willing, 10 more years to play the game. and play at a high level. And you know that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to continue to surround him with talent year in and year out. And he signed a very, you know, from a financial perspective, he signed a very team-friendly deal so that they can go out and get the talent around him so that he can remain successful for years to come. So I think if he wins this one 3 in a row, you got to start having real conversations about him being one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback of all time.
Patriots fans are going to be all up in your comments, but it doesn't matter. You already
Can't wait.
you already beat them for a Super Bowl anyway. So how's that ring taste? Last but not least, Vic, man, I know you're a busy guy. What you got going on, man, outside of this legendary NYU Langone Health commercial?
A lot of things, man. I'll be down at Super Bowl, obviously doing a ton of different things, working with a bunch of different partners, still working on the fashion side of things where I'm trying my hand at a lot of different collaborations, and hopefully I get the opportunity to work on a golf shoot soon. That's kind of the biggest goal that's happening right now in that particular space. The foundation, we're having our second annual golf outing this year in June, so I'm excited about that and start to get that thing going a little bit. And yeah, man, I got a 13-year-old daughter that doesn't, you know, she keeps me on my toes as well, and always calls me old and makes sure that it keeps me young. So all of those things encompassing, I'm a busy man.
Got a 21-month-old. I'm trying to get like you, man. I'm trying to stay in shape to run around with him. And on the fashion tip, you know, you get a clothing line out, you need a model. You know, I'm an extra schmedium. You know, I
know exactly where to find you, my friend. I know exactly where you at.
All right, man. I see you down in New Orleans, man. I appreciate you coming on with us. And as always, bro, we're always behind you with anything that you got going on. Super proud of you, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Always a pleasure. Proud of you too, man. I've been seeing you grind and doing your thing, and wish you nothing but continued success.